This is a Pat Martino lick. It's from a song called The Great Stream, which is from Pat Martino Live, which is a recording done in the early 70s. It's right around the same time as Consciousness, which is another great one. Just burning. He just smokes it. You can find that recording, by the way. It's they were released, I believe, independently. There were records done, separate records, and then they became a dual CD that was put out, I don't know, early 2000s sometime. That's what you'll find on some of the streaming services. So if you're looking for it there, it's called Pat Martino Live. Anyway, it's called The Great Stream is the tune. It's the progression is all dominant chords, and each dominant chord lasts for 8 measures. It starts out C7, goes to A7, goes to D7 sharp, 9, the Hendrix chord, and then to B flat 7, then repeat. So anyway, the lick we're going to pull out is over the A dominant. It's the first time through. The solo actually starts almost exactly at a minute into the recording. This is a little later than that. I'll put sort of the timestamp down below, and I'll put a link to a YouTube recording of it. But anyway, let's break it up. So the first little phrase is in the 7th position. And as a side note, he thinks minor, so he thinks everything Dorian and then relates it to that when you're thinking modally. So in other words, he's thinking the 2 chord and thinks of all of his shapes all over the neck as Dorian. And then so when he goes to play a 5 chord, he plays that 2 chord. I know that sounds really convoluted. But in other words, he's just thinking he's thinking E minor and all of his shapes to go over the A dominant. I'm not going to go into it. His instructional stuff is based a lot off that. It's fantastic. Go look it up. He has a number of books. There's a number of DVDs that are out of print that are probably on YouTube. Anyway, go check out his stuff, but let's break it down. Okay, so the first 3 notes are on the E string, and that's 9, 10, 7. Then it's 8 to 7 on the B string. Now he's going to start to chromatically move down, and he's going to shift his position, and he's going to play that little phrase there. But before he does, there is a 8th note pause. So that little movement there is 6 on the B string to 8 on the 3rd string, then shift down a half fret and play the same thing. 5 on the B string, 7 on the 3rd string, and then you pull off 7 to 6, and then 7th on the D string. So that little movement is. And that's one of those things, as you're learning it, start moving it. So if you played that in D, or if I played it in C, see how I'm relating that to the chord shape? Real important to do. Anyway, that's that part. Then the next part, he's gonna shift again. So after being in this, he's gonna change position and put his first finger on the 4th fret, 3rd string, sorry. And then he's gonna play. So that is the 5th to the 4th on the D string. And he pulls that off, and then the 7th on the 5th string. It's that little shape right there. So you got, to me, that's really the That's the crux of this lick. You can get that in your playing and go in and out of that real easy. And it's an idea that then you have in your improv and that you can mess with that isn't so obviously, like we talked about before. You're playing insert lick, you're playing. If you get used to moving in and out of that, if you know your scale pattern, which is right there, you can play anything you've got out of that. I mean, we could play week 2's West Montgomery lick. Anyway, lick's not done yet. So we got this so far. Then the next part and the ending is all on the 4th string, and it's just chromatically up 4, 5, 6. That's where he actually ends, because then the next thing you hear is it switches to a new chord. So he just holds that note out over the chord. Not really the chord note you want to hold out if we were going to play this whole thing over A7. Anyway, he ends that, walking chromatically up, and then he holds the note out because it actually switches to the D altered chord. But what I did just to make it more of a lick or a note you might land on in staying in A7. So what I did was to make it a little bit more of a lick and to have sort of resolve to where a note you could land on and hang out. I did the 4th fret, 3rd string, up to the 6th fret. And that's really your 9th and your 3rd, either of which sound good. So I kind of made it that lick. Just so it would actually sort of resolve. And like I said, you could land on either of those. That time I landed on the 3rd. Or if you land on that 9th, gives you that tonality. 9ths have a very blues sound to them. They're used in the blues all the time. Anyway, that's the lick. And thanks for checking it out.